people, welcome back to my channel. So today I will be showing you guys how to cut fabric, and I will also be explaining the grain lines. I promise you I won't be long. So I will be explaining the grain lines in order for you to understand the concept of cutting fabrics. So just stay tuned and hear what I've got to say. For this tutorial, you will need paper patterns, you will need fabric, you will need your thread, your measuring tape, scissors, and pins. So here's the rest of them here, and boom. Okay, so when you work with fabric, be it cutting or draping, you need to take into consideration the grain lines of the fabric, and that will be the lengthwise grain, the crosswise grain, as well as the bias. And when you purchase your fabric, you will notice that there is two ends of the fabric that look different from the rest, and that are called the selvage. So I will just quickly look for my selvages. Selvages. So let me go. You will fold your fabric like that. Okay. So you will find your fabric like that. I'll just pull it so you can see what I was talking about. So if you have a look at this edge here, this fabric is a bit frayed. Let me just bring it closer compared to this one and the rest of your fabric. All right, so this is what we call the selvages. Parallel to the selvage, we have the straight grain. Now those are the threads running along the direction of the selvage. And perpendicular to this, there is a cross grain. So in between these 2 points, you have the bias. Now, if you have a look at this, your fabric stretches more than this way or that way. So with that being said, I plead with you, be mindful of the grain lines because you want the stretch in all the right places. Okay, so right now I am going to lay down my pattern pieces. Well, in this regard, it's just the sleeve because I don't have a lot of space. And you will move your paper pattern as close as possible to the edge, leaving about like a centimeter. And you can pin your selvages just so your fabric doesn't move. Okay, so now this step takes us back to the grain lines. As you can see on my paper pattern, that my grain line is marked, which is the straight grain. So I'll measure the distance from the straight grain to the outer edge. I'll do the same thing, measure in the middle to the outer edge and the bottom to the outer edge. Now all these points must measure the same distance. Remember that the lengthwise grain is parallel to the selvage. So I'll measure from there. I'll start at the top. I'll measure from there to the outer edge. It's about 20 centimeters, and I'll pin there so that everything stays there and does not move. I'll measure the middle to the outer. It should be 20 centimeters. And now lastly, the bottom part. Okay, I'll adjust it a bit because it's about 21. Okay, now it's 20, and I'll just pin it down. Okay, so if you're not sure about your measurements, you can still go back, but I'm happy at this point. The measurements are fine. So when all that is done, I'll just pin around the piece and cut it. moving right along. I am ready to cut out my second piece and it will fit right here. It is a small piece which is the front piece and I will be cutting it on a fold. You may want to iron your fabric, but as you can see, I am just trying to adjust it and to make my fold as crisp as possible. So guys, you can iron your fabric. I'm just lazy. Anyway, my second piece will go over the fold like I've said. The nicest thing about this is that I don't have to measure anything because the folded edge is equidistant to the selvage. So I'll just take my piece, lay it nicely on the fold, and once I'm happy, I'm going to mark those dots that you see there, pin it, and cut it all around. Just a quick recap on what I've done and what I've said. When laying your fabric on the table to cut out the pattern, you fold the selvage over to the opposite selvage with the right side of the fabric on the inside. Make sure that the selvages are lying evenly and straight on top of each other. This way, the fold is also on the straight grain. Pin pattern onto fabric, carefully measuring that the grain line on the pattern is parallel to the selvage or the fold. Put pins in the pattern at the grain line or the straight grain to hold it in place. Pin around the rest of the paper pattern. Once all pieces are carefully pinned, cut around the pattern, making sure the scissors is resting on the table to keep it stable. Check then if you have to cut in the notches. Okay, let me show you the pieces that I have cut out. I've got a sleeve with a notch, and the second one as well, I did notch it because I'm not really sure as I go along that I'm gonna need it, but just in case I do. And this here is my front piece with the dots there and on the sides. And lastly, I have the back piece. As you can see, I was already starting to do the row with elastic. And yeah, enjoy!
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way. Birds chirping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah. Lion's gonna come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung. Kids across the land. Savannah. I'm coming home, Savannah. We'll never be alone, Savannah. The beauty of the world, Savannah. Let's all take a walk, Savannah. I'm coming home, Savannah. We'll never be alone, Savannah. The beauty of the world, Savannah. Let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming home, Savannah. We'll never be alone, Savannah. Savannah, I'm coming home, Savannah. We'll never be alone, Savannah. The beauty of the world, Savannah. Let's all take a walk, Savannah. I'm coming home, Savannah. We'll never be alone, Savannah. The beauty of the world, Savannah. Let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming home, Savannah. We'll never be alone, Savannah.
Thank you so much guys for watching. Please don't forget to comment, share your views, whether you like the video, where I can improve, things like that. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Mwah.